Welcome to Kidmissing TV. I am your host, Angelina Wilson. This is going to be the last case for March because I'm having my surgery Monday. So, I have written all of April's cases. I just have to write the Doe Fridays, and I'll start recording them. Over the weekend. So, just so you know, April will be recorded ahead of time. All I'll have to do is just edit them as I go. So, but I think for my own sanity, I'm going to go in and change the names of each of the videos from their bunch of letters and numbers to what they actually are so I can find them and go to edit them later. So that's a quick update. Now to the case. On October 9th, 1958, in Bedford Township, Pennsylvania, the body of a man aged 30 to 35, 6'2" to 6'6" in height. Wow, he was huge. Straight dark brown hair, eye color unknown. He had a robust build. Yeah, wore contact lenses. Okay. I've never seen this kind of a description. The cranial vault, meaning like the cranium, the skull, the head, is described as being large, round, and with a narrow nasal aperture. In other words, a narrow nose space. They believe he was European. How many people wore contact lenses in 1958? That couldn't have been common. This was more common. And it says plastic. I thought they were all glass back then, the ones that they had for contact lenses, which I thought came out in the late 60s to the early 70s. I'm going to have to do some research on contact lenses. He had gold dental work. He wore gray wool hunting socks, and they were red at the top. Blue denim dungarees. That's what we used to call jeans back in the day, dungarees. Not to be confused with corduroys. Corduroys, you don't see anymore, but they looked literally corded. They were warm pants. They were kind of soft on the outside, but they were heavy. And dungarees, I guess, could be corduroys, but I think they're jeans. A wide black leather belt, white t-shirt, white jockey type shorts, underwear, black leather motorcycle type jacket with full length zipper and slant heel, 3 1/4 inch top height, 10 1/4 inch with buckles on the outside. Oh, boots, engineering boots. Okay. Or the 4 1/2 inch wide sole. The heel was 3 1/4 inches, and the top was 10 1/2 inches. They were pretty long boots with buckles on the outside. No hat was found, but numerous other clothing was found all around. But there was only one plastic contact lens, the right one. There was prescription, 2 pottery, and 1 science-related extensive amount of camping equipment. Oh, okay. Oh, books, known books. I don't know what that means, but it's KNOWN with no space, capital BOOKS. I don't know if that's a brand. Poetry. Yeah, I can read, and one science related. A lot of camping equipment with a canteen, a backpack. And they were new with little or no indication of use. Toiletries. Where the? It's hard because nobody. Okay. A wallet containing $38, which today is hundreds of dollars. A high-powered 30-06 Springfield rifle and gun case, ammunition, a brass key with active 195 Avenue A stamped on it. That's a house key. I mean, if they could figure out they did. Okay. It had been duplicated by active locksmiths, 195 Avenue A, New York, New York. So that was the address to the locksmith. I think he had a copy of his house key made, perhaps. That wouldn't be unusual. Or maybe even his car key, who knows? He was partially skeletonized when he was found. He was in the woods a half a mile north of the Pennsylvania Turnpike. The Pennsylvania Turnpike's Midway Service Plaza in Bedford, and 85 miles east of Pittsburgh. He died from a gunshot wound to the head. But while authorities believe the gunshot wound was self-inflicted, they do not know if it was an accident or suicide. That's interesting. Just because usually they immediately call it suicide. There must have been something that led them to believe otherwise. Perhaps that it was a 30-06, which is a long gun, which would be very difficult to shoot one in the head with. Just saying, unless you were shooting someone else. So it's possible that the gun accidentally went off. I mean, he obviously planned a camping trip, perhaps a hunting trip. And it was obviously either his first trip or his first trip with his new equipment. He had plenty of money on him. It didn't appear that he went out there to take his life. Because he wouldn't have been that prepared. So, they were able to trace the contact lens, or lenses, which, as I said, were unusual for the time. They were manufactured in Chicago and fitted by an Illinois physician, but there are no records of who he fitted them to. And the books that were with the victim seem to indicate higher education, poetry, literature, that kind of thing. And the gun was sold in Fort Wayne, Indiana in 1939. They couldn't trace it forward from there. And this was 1958. So that was 19 years earlier. If this man was only 30 to 35, he didn't buy it. So we have Illinois and Indiana so far. They have not had any success with the dental work or the key in terms of figuring out who did the dental work and where the key, what door the key went to, so to speak. The odd thing was they didn't find any food supplies or eating utensils. Which is strange, because if he was going hunting, you would think. Okay, police believe that they may have encountered the man in September of 57, loitering somewhere, and that he said he was en route from Kentucky to Canada. Hiking the Lung Trail, perhaps? Hiking the, what's it called? I can't think of the word for it. The mountain trail, anyway. An anthropologist looked at the body in 1959 and again in 2003. And they're the ones that concluded he was an adult male between the ages of 30 and 35, and that he had a living stature of 6'4" plus or minus 2 inches. And he got the nickname Mr. Bones. They don't even know if maybe somebody else shot him. Yeah, he was a person of means in 1958 if he had contact lenses. They did find a car abandoned on the PA Turnpike, but it turned out not to be his. They also, in the newspaper, referred to him as the luckless hunter. And pretty much everyone is saying suicide is unlikely. He didn't leave a car anywhere. How did he get out there? Maybe he was dropped off. I can't see anybody picking up a hitchhiker with a frickin' rifle. You know? Even in 1958. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to pick up a hitchhiker anyway. But certainly not one with a rifle. Yeah, just pick up a hitchhiker with a 30-06. Yeah, no. So I think someone he knew dropped him off there to go hunting. And we're going to pick him up. Yeah, he had good money because the contact lenses were very expensive. And the dental work wasn't cheap. It was all gold. And his presumed level of education, he would have had a good job. and the fact that his ID must have been taken because I found the money with him. So most feel that this was foul play. Even police are leaning in that direction. Unfortunately, because it was 1958, and the deputy coroner, who actually said, no, this is suspicious, this is not a suicide, is deceased. And even the victim himself would be, let's see, he was 35 in 30 to 35. We'll go on the older end first. In 1958, 68, 78, 88, 98. Hold on. So sorry, guys. I had to take that phone call. Family. Okay. So I was nearing the end of this anyway. So, yeah, as I was saying, he would be now, if he was 35, okay? So 58, 68, 78, 88, 98, 08, 18. Wait, 58 to 68, 68 to 78, 78 to 88. Okay, 2018 was 60 years. Oh my goodness, I can't even do math. Let me just grab my calculator here. Why am I trying to do this in my head? I'm not that good at math, so let's do this with a calculator, shall we? Okay. 1958 minus 35 years equals 1923. Okay. So if we do 2025 minus 1923, he would be 102. If you were 35. If you were 30, you subtract 5 from that, and he'd be 97. So yeah. It would be unlikely to be people in his generation alive, but maybe his kid, his niece, his nephew, something like that, to have taken a DNA test. They're still investigating. It's the Pennsylvania State Police. I'm going to say Trooper Dana Martini. And the phone number is 814-696-6100. That's 814-696-6100. Case number LE2C355. Again, that's LE2C355. That's important on a case this age. And the name of case number is UP number 8011. That's UP number 8011. So yeah. That is the case. Now, what do I think real quick here at the end? Because I always do this. I don't think he killed himself on purpose. A rifle that's, well, a gun that size would be unlikely. You would be unlikely to do that. Be able to do that. And it was a through and through in his head. How big is the 30-06? How long? Whoops. I'm gonna have to look for a picture. Point 30. Whoops. Okay. That's a big gun. 30-06 Springfield. What is the size of it? That's what I'm looking for. Oops. Come on. Okay, here we go. Yeah, I can spell. I don't want to know what the size of the ammunition. The bullet alone is 3 3/4 inches long. No, I want to know how big the rifle is. It's long anyway. Because it's got a 3-inch bullet, for crying out loud. Uh, yeah, they're not telling you the size of the actual weapon. Sorry, guys. But the .6 or 06 means that it was first used in the military in 1906. And 30 is the caliber. Aught, A-U-G-H-T, is a common word for 0. None. Just like the first decade of a um, of a millennia would be the naughties, N-A-U-G-H-T-Y. The reason is because, again, not 0, and the aught at the end. So anyway, not that you needed to hear that, but I was hoping to find the length of that rifle. If anybody knows how big that rifle is, I mean, it is a, good lord, it is a rifle. Sorry about that, guys. That's my, oh, shut up. That scared the crap out of me. Anyway, if anybody knows the size of it, if you're a hunter out there, please let me know. If I could talk to my godbrother, he could tell me. But him and I haven't seen each other in a while. When I say godbrother, I'm talking about my godparents' child. Their son is my godbrother and their daughter is my godsister. Always has been. Trying to think here. So I don't think that he killed himself with a .30-06. I just don't. If you had gotten that gun that close to your head with a 3-inch shell, you wouldn't have a head left. I'm sorry. You wouldn't have a head left. It went through and through, so it wasn't a huge distance, but it also wasn't right up against the head. Because like I said, with a 3-inch bullet, you wouldn't have a head left. So, actually a little over 3-inch bullet. Yeah. That's humongous. So, I think he was probably there with someone else. That's why there's no car. And that person... And that would also explain all the new equipment. Because he was invited out there. And the gun probably didn't belong to him. It probably belonged to the killer. I wonder if there are any fingerprints or anything. And that's my opinion. Let me know what you think. But my opinion is the reason there's no car around and no ID, not even a hunting license, which would be unusual, is because someone else killed him that he knew and left him there. Like I said, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for joining me. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you in April. I'm so sorry. And keep in mind, April will be recorded before my surgery because it'll be recorded over the weekend. So you won't even see my surgery until May. It shouldn't be horrible anyway to look at. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. And I will see you next time. Bye, guys. Remember to please subscribe. And to share the video with people you know like this content. Thank you so much. Bye, guys.